Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 347. We have a wonderful guest for you today. So make sure you click to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. I post 1 to 2 episodes each week and each guest has a fascinating story to tell. Joining us today is Joseph Wilkins, founder of FunnySalesVideos.com, a speaker and a host of the podcast How to Make a Video Go Viral. Hello, Joseph.
Hi, how you doing?
I am fine, thank you.
Awesome.
My audience are excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
Oh gosh, just one thing. I guess the one thing I would tell your listeners is that after 20 years of creating every kind of video you can imagine, nothing has performed for our clients like using humor. And it's something that we almost refused to do for the first 15 years of, running this company. But since learning a few of the principles that we'll talk about today, our clients' results have just skyrocketed. So they should sit forward and think about, should I be using humor in my marketing?
Wow, I can't wait to hear more about that. Let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own business?
Yeah, so I'm originally from London. I grew up there for the first 20 years. My father was in the advertising industry as a photographer. And so I kind of always had the creative bug in my DNA, I guess you could say. I moved out to America to go to university, studied graphic design, and then started working as a graphic designer when my employer basically asked, who wants to go learn video? And so that's really how it all started for me. And then I started, after a couple of years, doing some freelancing projects. 20 years ago is when I started Procreative, which is my video production studio. And for the first 15 years, we were solely focused on television. So we produced, full-length 30-minute infomercials and shorter television commercials with direct response in mind, right? So just driving people to buy a product or a service from flipping through the channels. Our first ever infomercial, the Little Giant Ladder infomercial that we were a part of, created over $200 million in sales, which just blew my mind at the time that was the potential of television. And then for the next 15 years, that's where we focused. But as you know, television is a completely different animal today than it was 15 years ago. It just doesn't work the way that it used to. And our clients started saying, our results are dropping. Our customers aren't watching television anymore. How can we get back to the results that we used to get? And that's when we really had to look at social media and online videos. But the problem is you can't just take a television commercial and put it on the internet and expect it to produce the same results. And so we spent about a year trying to figure out, why are people watching video online and what's the kind of videos that really work well? And that's when we started looking at what companies like the Harmon Brothers were doing with things like Squatty Potty and Poopery, Purple Mattress, FiberFix Chatbooks, these videos that have, hundreds of millions of views and have quote unquote gone viral and made, millions and millions of dollars for their customers. And that's when we made the huge pivot and changed our company name to Funny Sales Videos. And I guess just to give you a compare and contrast, before we did that, and I can talk about how we did that, and more importantly, how your listeners can do the same thing that we did. When we did that, before that change, our biggest video that we'd ever got online as far as video views was one video that we did for a cosmetics company that got 100,000 views, which at the time we thought was pretty good. But the very first video that we did after creating our team of writers, which I can talk about, We did a video for a very small company, very niche audience. It was a SaaS service, and we got over 7 million views. And more importantly, we did over $500,000 in sales from a fraction of that for the cost of the client. And so we knew that we were onto something. Fast forward to today, our biggest campaign has just surpassed 100 million views, millions and millions and millions of dollars in sales. And so that's the kind of transformation that we've kind of gone through.
Why do you do what you do?
It's two things. Number one is results, right? So our customers are getting amazing results from these kinds of videos. The other reason we do these kinds of videos is, frankly, we've never had so much fun in our lives. I mean, coming up with these crazy stories and creating these characters and these worlds, it's the funniest thing I can imagine. But, again, back to our customers' results, we have customers that have seen, 2, 3, 4 times return on their ad spend compared to other kinds of videos that just weren't profitable. So, it's a double-edged sword for us. We're bringing results for our customers and we're having the time of our lives.
It's nice to have fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, life's too short.
Wow. Let's put him aside. How do you know you are successful?
Well, I mean, obviously that's a loaded question. There's lots of different levels of success, but from a results point of view, and what your audience probably want to know more is when I rewind 20 years ago, when we started television commercials, it was very hard to attribute specific success. I mean, we would run different commercials on different TV stations, and we would use unique phone numbers to track and different URLs, but it was still kind of a spray and pray. We never really knew exactly how to attribute all of our results. But, in the world of the internet and tracking and social media and obviously immediate sales, we can immediately tell when we release a campaign what our return on ad spend is, what our customer engagement level is, how many people are watching, how many people are liking, commenting, sharing. I mean, and that's another thing, aside from the incredible sales that we've generated for customers. We've also helped to make household name brands. People have literally gone into retail stores asking for the product that they've seen on that funny video. One of our clients is a laundry detergent, True Earth. They create a unique product where it's ecologically sustainable because they don't use a plastic bottle. And they literally have had retail accounts that they've been trying to get into and haven't been able to. And then after launching our videos, they've had the buyers of those retail brands call them saying, how can we stock you? Our customers are asking for you. And so, that's the definition of success, is immediate sales, immediate interaction and engagement, but also just, building a brand. And when you can do direct response and branding at the same time, that's magic.
Tell us, how exactly does a video go viral?
Okay, well, that's a really good and loaded question. So most people think, and I'm going to break a few hearts here, most people think that when they see a video online that has quote unquote gone viral, in other words, has millions and millions of views on it, they think that that was an organically virally shared video. And in 99% of the cases, at least these days, that is not true. The algorithms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, name your platform, they are sophisticated now to where they can immediately spot the difference between an advertisement and a cat video, right? Those cat videos or celebrity videos, there's still videos out there that will go organically viral, but a paid ad, if you're trying to make money on these platforms, their algorithms will quickly disadvantage your ad from being shared if you're not paying to play. So I explain it like this. It's like a vending machine. If I was to say to you, I'll build a vending machine for you, it's full of $100 bills and it only costs $20 to use. You're going to want to use that machine over and over and over again until it runs out. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a video that goes organically viral. We're talking about a video that when you spend that $20 in that vending machine to run that ad, so to share that video as a paid ad, it'll bring you back that $100, right? So we have many clients that have, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7+ X return on ad spend because these ads perform so much better. Now, with all that said, there is still an element of virality, because when you start paying to show these videos on these platforms, because we get so many likes and comments and shares, those platforms can see, oh, people actually like watching this content. And so they will favor it, and you will get a big amount of quote unquote free organic traffic, but it's still probably not more than 10% of the total views. So if you see a video that has millions of views and it's a commercial, that typically means that that company is making money from that, because they wouldn't continue to spend those advertising dollars that is driving those views up. And it all comes back to the premise that, why are people going onto social media? They're not going on to watch a commercial. They're not going on to be advertised to. They're going on to be entertained. They're going on to have a break from their day. And so the closer that your content can look like the reason that they've come there in the first place, i.e. entertainment, the more likely you are to engage with them, the more likely they are to watch. And so we kind of, we look at the videos that we make as almost, 80% sketch comedy and 20% sales. And a lot of people don't realize until they're, 30 to 60 seconds into our videos that it's actually an ad. So again, that's how you get a video to go viral. You create content that is immediately hooky, that people will want to not click that skip button and actually watch, and then you suck them into a story and then introduce them to a real problem that they have, that your product or service solves, and then that engagement level goes up and adds to that virality. But it is, at the end of the day, about a paid campaign that you can control, that you can repeat, that you can predict. Very different than just creating a video and hoping that lightning strikes, because chances are it won't.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
Well, I would say that was the day that we launched, I think it was our second campaign, which was the very first campaign that we did for True Earth. I remember releasing that video, and within the first day, we had generated more sales. In fact, we had quadrupled in revenue what our client paid to produce the whole commercial. And within like a week, I think we had got up to, over 1 million views, over $2 million in sales. And, the internet felt like it just exploded with people reacting to this ad. This one video now has close to 60 million views. And again, just kind of created this household name brand for a product that was doing good in the world. It wasn't just selling snake oil. It was a really good product that solved a really good need. And that's another thing, the nothing sells better than the truth, the Harmon brothers say. And so creating content around truly good products, is a big part of success. In fact, it's the only formula for success, I believe. And so I just remember that one campaign just spawned off everything that we've really done since. And, it literally transformed their sales funnel that day. And after being the fastest growing company I think they were the second fastest growing company in Canada that year. So they were already on track for huge success. And then that day that we launched, the VP, Ryan McKenzie, said that was the biggest day that they'd ever had in the history of their company. So we're not talking about a startup. We're talking about a company that was the second fastest growing company in Canada. And after that, we launched that video and made them the biggest sales day ever in the history of the company.
As you mentioned, you have been in business for a long time. What have you learned from business as a whole?
Oh, gosh. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is you have to pivot, you have to adapt, you have to change, or else you'll die. I can't remember what the stats are, but it's a terrible statistic of how long the average business lasts. And, having surpassed the 20-year mark, we definitely wouldn't be here if we hadn't have reinvented ourselves over and over and over. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we were purely a television production, commercial production 20 years ago. And if we stayed in that lane, we would be out of business, no question. And so going through an evolution of looking at what are the customer demands, whatever your business is, you've got to look, and then not just look once, but keep looking down the road. What's the future? So here I sit 20 years later, having evolved from, television infomercials to corporate videos to online social videos to these funny sales videos. I can't just stop here. I've got to think, okay, what's next? What's coming? What's going to change technology the way that TiVo and DVRs changed the way that we watch television? We could skip through the commercials. That was a huge disruptor for us. So now I've got to be thinking about, okay, so what's the next 5-10 years going to bring? What technologies are going to change the way that we're delivering our stories? Because that's what we are at our heart, is we're storytellers. The delivery mechanism will change, but that won't. So I'm looking right now at, okay, how is VR and AR, augmented reality and virtual reality going to change the way that people are consuming, content? Mark Zuckerberg's obviously putting a huge amount of resources behind that right now, creating the Facebook content creator community, looking at the metaverse, looking at blockchain, looking at, NFTs, how that is being implemented in our industry. So just constantly be looking at what is going to potentially disrupt your business and then making plans to adapt to survive.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely not do?
Oh, gosh. I got to remember back 20 years. The first year of our business, this may sound arrogant. I don't know that I'd change anything, because the very first year of our business was when I was working in my old corporate job as the marketing director for a company, and I was approached by Little Giant Ladder to do that very first infomercial that ended up doing $200 million in sales. Again, we were a small part of that production process, but that one event, getting hired to be part of that team, shaped the next 20 years. What would I do differently? I'll tell you what I'd do differently in general, is get more mentorship, surround myself with people who have been there and done that, so that I don't have to blaze my own trail. That's one thing that I haven't done as much, is, networking and going to events. I don't like to do that kind of stuff, but I think that it would have benefited me more. So getting a mentor and involving yourself more in networking and community.
Do you have a mentor now or a coach?
I don't. Again, that's, I'm kind of a maverick. I definitely have. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. One thing that has really helped us over the past 5 years is joining the Harmon Brothers University. And that is a mentorship program of sorts where, we have paid a significant amount of money to go through their mentorship program, to go through their online university where they teach the fundamental of how they did what they did. And so that has been hugely successful for us. And then, they have a community online in their Facebook groups where they, from the owners of the company down to the guys producing the ads, they do offer mentorship and coaching. And so that is one avenue that I do have. But I constantly am consuming content, reading books, listening to podcasts like this. And so in that way, I think that's how I get my mentorship.
What is the most valuable thing you have got from all these communities?
Well, any man who isolates himself and thinks that he has the best ideas is deluding himself. So I always tell people, surrounding yourself with others and listening to others' point of views and learning from their, from their experience is invaluable. And also, in my world, it's about the creative collective. So I don't write any of our scripts. I have, 10 or so writers, a lot that, I networked in similar communities that add to the process of creating our scripts. And so in that way, that's how the community has really benefited me and my business.
What grounds you?
I think my faith and my family. Those are the two most important things in my life is God and my family. And I think those give me values and obviously a reason to work hard, to provide for my family. So, yeah.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
Well, I mean, ever since I was a very young child, I've always been very entrepreneurial minded. And I think that came from my dad, who was, again, in a similar space and in a similar situation where he was an entrepreneur. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always had businesses that I ran on the side, whether it was dog walking businesses in the villages that I lived in England, or, doing jobs here and there. And so I think just that early encouragement as a child that, you can pretty much do anything you set your mind to, but you got to figure out how to create it yourself and not wait for it to be given to you.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
Man, gosh, you're putting me on the spot here. One thing nobody knows about me is I would say I'm not funny. which is very ironic, right, for somebody who runs a company called funnysalesvideos.com. But that should give your listeners hope that, and we really haven't gotten into this, but the big thing that I think your listeners may benefit from is the fact that I have a free ebook that they can download on my website that basically teaches them how they can create funny sales videos that will help them to increase their sales. And coming back to why I'm mentioning that is because you don't have to be funny to create funny content. You have to surround yourself with funny people. And I spell out in my ebook places that you can go to find freelancers that will do just that. But, you don't have to be the one that's funny to create these kinds of videos. You just have to be somebody that understands, what is the message that you're trying to get across? What are the actions that you're trying to get across? But yeah, a lot of people think that I'm going to come on these podcasts and I'm going to be cracking jokes and entertaining people. But, the real magicians behind the scenes are my writers.
Let's talk about your company. Tell us more about it and who can join you.
Yeah, so funnysalesvideos.com is our business. And our goal is to work with small businesses that can't afford to work with bigger agencies that are producing these kinds of videos. We spend a lot of time to try to figure out, how do we stay very small and scrappy so that even the smallest of businesses can afford us. But essentially what we do is we meet with customers. We find out, okay, what are you trying to sell, or what product or solution, or how many leads are you trying to drive? Who is your audience? And then we craft a story that will be entertaining, but most importantly, will capture that person's attention and get them to listen to a story that ultimately gets them to take an action. And, a lot of companies say, well, my company isn't the kind of company that lends itself well to being funny. And my response is, perfect. That's our ideal customer, because guess what? That means that your competitors aren't trying to be funny either. And the name of the game in advertising is disruption. It's standing out. It's looking different without making you look silly. And that's a huge qualifier, is we take the time to make sure that our scripts are intelligently funny, never diluting the brand or, degrading the brand. But anyway, we have driven millions and millions and millions of dollars for our customers, tens of millions of dollars for our customers using this approach without costing, an arm and a leg. So if anyone wants to check out funnysalesvideos.com, there's a form at the bottom where you can schedule a free brainstorming session with me personally. And we can talk about, if there's a good fit for a story that we could create that will transform. Literally, we've taken customers that have been spending money running ads that have, not been making money or breaking even, and changing nothing more than their creative. We've doubled, tripled, quadrupled the results that they're getting.
And how can we connect with you? Are you on social?
Yeah. So again, the best way is just to go to funnysalesvideos.com, scroll down to the bottom and fill out that form. Or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, probably the best place to go, just Joseph Wilkins, funnysalesvideos.com. And you can obviously also, as you mentioned in your intro, if you've liked what we've talked about today, we haven't even scratched the surface. I have a podcast. It's called How to Make a Video Go Viral, and it's on all the podcast platforms.
Wow. Thank you. There will be more from Joseph in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you are encouraged by Joseph's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success: How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Joseph, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
Sure.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
I do both, but being a very visual person, I do love a good story, and so I watch movies. But even more than that, I watch YouTube videos and content online that, especially the kind that are from people doing the same kind of thing that we're doing. But short answer, I'd go with movies.
Tell us, what is your favorite movie that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
Oh, a favorite movie has some relevance. I would say it's an old one, but Pirates of Silicon Valley. It's the story, the origin story of Apple, right? Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. That's just one that jumps to mind.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
Oh gosh, down to its last $100. I would go back in time and invest it in Bitcoin.
Okay.
Is that allowed?
Yes, it's your money.
Okay, I just got to think.
$100 back.
I would more than quadruple if it was in Bitcoin.
Okay. What is the best business book you have ever read?
So in my line of work in advertising, I would say the most influential business book that I've ever read that had an impact on me was Ogilvy on Advertising. It's an old book. I think it was written in the 70s, but it still applies today.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
Keep on going. Throughout the ups and downs, just, I think a positive attitude and a belief in yourself is the most important thing that they can teach an entrepreneur class at business school. Just keep going. Just believe in yourself. Fake it till you make it. Pick one of those.
What is your next chapter?
I touched on it earlier. It's figuring out the road ahead for media delivery. So the metaverse, virtual reality, augmented reality, how viewing habits are going to shift in the next century.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you are only on the way?
Oh, gosh, both. Every morning that I get up, I love that I'm going to work. So that's the definition of success, right? Is, find something you love and never feel like you work a day in your life. So I play for a living. So that's success to me. But as far as where my company is and where we can go, no, I feel like the best is still ahead and we have to work hard to earn it and to get there.
Will you ever stop?
No, never. The thought of retirement is repulsive to me.
Even on your 100th birthday?
Yeah, even on my 100th birthday, there's still a story in me.
Wow.
I may not be, I may not have the physical capability to be the one creating it, but, the minute you stop thinking and creating in your mind, I think is the road to the graveyard. For me, anyway.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
funnysalesvideos.com. Or if you just want to shoot me an email, joseph@funnysalesvideos.com.
Joseph, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thank you. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Joseph.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with Patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.